Hello everyone, it's me again. Today I will recap the movie The Killer. He is a cold-blooded killer. He looks at the victim with cold eyes, doesn't say a word, and pulls the trigger. Just like that, he has completed countless missions. Because he is so famous, he received many contracts. This time, he doesn't understand why he missed the fat man. Seeing that he lost the best opportunity, he immediately ran away. But from here, the organization wants to erase him so that everything is not exposed. Will he escape the organization's pursuit? What will he do to get revenge on them? Please watch today's recap. The movie begins with a hidden killer, waiting for his prey. As a professional, Marcus is extremely patient. While waiting for the opportunity, he leisurely does push-ups. First, he takes out binoculars to observe the target. Regardless of the beautiful girls below, he won't be distracted. After that, he determined the distance from where he stood to the building opposite, and was assembling the sniper rifle when he discovered someone knocking on the door. Fortunately, this person only threw a few pieces of newspaper on the ground and left. If he had taken another step, he would have become Marcus's victim. After breathing a sigh of relief, Marcus returned to his target. Although he was a sniper, Marcus liked to approach his target at a closer distance, so that he could poison or stage a peaceful death, which was much more interesting. That night, his target finally appeared. Realizing that the opportunity had come, Marcus immediately took out the rifle to assemble, then slowly raised the table. He opened the window to avoid breaking the glass and attracting attention. Marcus put on his favorite gloves and took out eye drops and put them in his eyes. It seemed that this time his prey would not be able to escape. The old man in the building opposite was still unaware of the danger. The old man was preparing to have sex with his young lover. I don't know why the places where he stood were so difficult to aim. Marcus was distracted by the sexy body of the girl. He suddenly calmed himself down and had to stay alert to the temptation. He locked on the old man and prepared to headshot the target. However, when he pulled the trigger, he missed. The fat man's bodyguard started to pull the curtain back. Marcus knew that his plan had failed and immediately took off his gun, put it in his backpack, not forgetting to pick up the shell casings on the ground. Very quickly after that, he gathered everything and left. Because he was a bit confused, when Marcus unlocked the car, he was a few beats late, and was almost discovered by the fat man's henchmen. As soon as he left, the police appeared. Arriving at a nearby garbage truck, he threw the gun in to get rid of the evidence. The police were still confused, determining the location of the gunman, not knowing that Marcus had already run far away. He went to a convenience store, showered, shaved, changed into another set of clothes, and didn't forget to spray deodorant on his body. Finally, he went straight to the airport to escape. Encountering the police and police dogs in the security area, Marcus was afraid of being discovered, so he went to the restroom, wiped off the sweat on his body, and then checked in. At this time, he called his superiors to report. The mission failed, and his superiors got angry and wanted him to immediately correct the mistake. Marcus knew that if he went back, it would be no different from rushing to his death. After ending the call, he immediately took out the SIM card and smashed the phone. As soon as he saw a suspicious man on the plane, Marcus immediately paid attention to this man's movements, suspecting that he was a professional killer like himself. In order to avoid exposing his whereabouts, he changed his flight to a later flight than expected. Not only that, he also carefully placed the cup on the door handle. As soon as someone broke in, it would make a noise immediately. Marcus put the knife aside, and the night passed. He returned to the Dominican Republic. As soon as he got off the plane, someone had a car ready for him. When he got to his house, he saw footprints and cigarette butts, and a feeling of fear suddenly rushed into his mind. Marcus grabbed his gun and rushed inside like crazy. Looking around, the floor was covered in blood, the bathroom mirror was broken, and blood was almost all over the walls. In a flash, he guessed what terrible thing had happened. Marcus immediately picked up his phone and called someone. It turned out that his crush, Madala, had been attacked by bad guys. Her brother immediately came to tell her what had happened. Luckily, he arrived in time, so he was able to save her life. Obviously, this was not an ordinary robbery. There were two of them, a tall and muscular man and a skinny woman. They drove a blue taxi and were extremely brutal, but did not kill Madala. Luckily, Madala stabbed him in the thigh. It seemed like this was a warning to Marcus. At this time, Magdala had also escaped the hands of death. Although she did not know what her lover was doing, she knew that they came here to find him. Faced with brutal torture, she still refused to say anything about him. Marcus was deeply moved by Magdala's sincerity. He swore that they would pay dearly for this. That night, Marcus went to the garden, dug up the dirt, and took out the hot goods. He took money and dozens of passports and set out for revenge. First, he searched for the blue taxi as described. That night, he went to the taxi company's headquarters, pointed a gun at the manager's face, and started looking for a list of the driver who had driven the two assassins. After a while of searching, he quickly identified that person's name as Leo. After that, Marcus took some change and pretended that this was a regular robbery. The taxi company manager was not attacked, so everything was forgotten. As soon as he saw the young driver Leo, Marcus pretended to be a late passenger. Immediately upon getting into the car, he pulled out his gun, scaring Leo. Leo thought Marcus was a robber who needed money, so he gave him his wallet. But what he needed was the information of the two passengers that Leo had driven 3 days ago. Leo described that the man that day looked like a fierce dog, and the woman was easily recognizable with her thin body. He only knew that they forced him to a house in the woods, where they stayed for about an hour. Then he drove them to the airport with a large sum of money. He only remembered that the man's leg was covered in blood in his car. At this time, Marcus' eyes were full of confusion. He took out his gun, without saying anything, and shot Leo dead. This time, he took on a different identity and set out for revenge. The next location was the lawyer Hodges in New Orleans. He was the intermediary who assigned tasks to assassins like Marcus. As an assassin, Marcus had many archives everywhere. After taking a 3-shot gun with a silencer, he carefully chose a new identity and finally changed the license plate. However, Hodges' building was extremely secure, so in order to avoid being discovered, he bought some tools to pretend to be a sanitation worker. When the mailman left the office, Marcus used his foot to block the door. Then, he rushed in with a gun and confiscated all of Dolores' electronic devices. Hodges immediately realized that the assassin had failed the previous day. He advised Marcus to leave before it was too late, and he would pretend that nothing had happened. He also arrogantly said that it was the price to pay for failure. Marcus ordered Dolores to use rope to tie Hodges and herself up. Marcus took a nail gun and nailed a few shots into Hodges' computer. At this point, Hodges was starting to get nervous but still tried to act like he was fine. Marcus knew that the old man had left a backup for self-defense, but Hodges refused to reveal it. Marcus nailed him 3 times in the chest. Dolores was extremely scared inside. Marcus was extremely confident in his trick. With these 3 size 9 nails, a middle-aged, non-smoker weighing 82 kilograms could last for 6 to 7 minutes. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Hodges died. At this time, he opened the bathroom door and went to Hodges' secretary, Dolores. She said that she had a list of names of the people he needed. She begged for a trade, to let her death be an accident. She also had a small child and wanted it to be covered by insurance. Marcus was not a cold-blooded killer, so he agreed to her request. As agreed, Dolores gave him the address of the couple from the day before. Next was the client who hired someone to kill him the day before. At this point, Dolores was no longer of any value to him. Marcus gave Dolores a death, like an accident. This time he boarded a ferry, traveling on the sea. Hodges' body had become fish bait. He washed the car thoroughly, then threw away the license plate that had been used for the past few days. He drove the car into an apartment building and threw the key in the trash. His next trip was to Florida, to deal with the gangster the Brute who had assaulted Marcus's girlfriend. Very quickly Marcus saw him. He was determined to get revenge. That night, Marcus followed him to a casino. It turned out that the Brute was a gambler who was in dire need of money to spend. He immediately bought some food to make dog bait. As soon as he saw a stranger, the dog barked loudly. Marcus threw the dog some dog bait. Of course, the dog bait was so attractive, how could it refuse? Waiting until he could no longer hear the dog barking, he slowly broke into the Brute's house. The dog was fast asleep. Marcus immediately took out his gun, wanting to avenge his girlfriend, but unexpectedly, the Brute discovered that someone had broken in and immediately attacked Marcus from behind. The Brute had great strength, and each blow seemed to want to break Marcus. He thought Marcus was just a robber who had broken into his house. Not knowing that Marcus was a sniper, the Brute had visited his house a few days ago. Although the Brute was stronger than others, in terms of speed and viciousness, the Brute was nowhere near as good as Marcus. During the fight, Marcus grabbed an iron hook. He used it to continuously attack the Brute. The Brute picked up the gun and was about to finish Marcus off. Marcus kicked him hard, and he was stabbed in the butt by a wooden stick, causing him pain. Marcus hid in a corner, making fake noises. As soon as the Brute was distracted, Marcus escaped to another room. At this moment, the Brute realized that he had messed with the wrong person. Marcus grabbed the gun on the floor, shoot through the door, and shot him dead immediately. The dog downstairs was awakened by the gunshot, and immediately ran up to protect its owner. Marcus felt something was wrong and ran outside. The dog couldn't keep up and couldn't do anything. Marcus lit a bottle of wine and threw it straight into the house, creating a Molotov cocktail. The house instantly turned into a torch, lighting up the entire area. The next target was the woman who had been with the brute, the expert. Marcus used another identity to go to New York City, parking his car for hours in front of her house. After sleeping for a few hours, the expert finally appeared. As the driver had described, she was extremely skinny. Marcus followed the expert's car, not knowing that the ghost of death had approached her. As soon as he had the chance to approach her, he didn't want to kill her right away, temporarily playing cat and mouse with her. The expert went to a restaurant to eat. He was outside making a series of assassination plans. Everyone knew that when a woman was found murdered, the top suspect was always her husband or boyfriend, especially if she wasn't sexually assaulted. He immediately walked to the woman's table. As soon as the expert saw the gun in his hand, she understood everything. The expert invited Marcus to have her last dinner. The expert explained that his girlfriend was done by the brute, and she tried to stop him, but he didn't listen. No matter what the expert explained, Marcus was still like a statue. There was absolutely no emotion in his eyes. She knew that Marcus had the chance to kill her, but she didn't understand why he risked his life to come here. Marcus finally spoke up and said that he preferred conversation to violence. Finally, her last meal was over. Marcus wanted to send the expert off to the afterlife. She asked him if her body would be found floating down the river tomorrow. After a while, she pretended to fall and asked Marcus to help her up. Without saying much, he finished her off with a shot. Marcus pushed her body away and saw a dagger next to it. This time, Marcus scrolled through his phone to see about the client who hired him before. He was a rich investor. His name was Clay. In order to eliminate his competitor, he hired a sniper. As soon as the mission failed, Clay was afraid that the matter would be exposed, so he spent some money to cover up everything. As soon as he approached, he learned that Clay had signed up for a gym and a luxury club. That night, he approached a black market gun dealer. He gave Marcus a collection of all kinds of guns, but Marcus only needed a gun with a silencer. The gun dealer asked him if he needed more bullets, but Marcus said he didn't need them. The next day, he ordered a security card copying device, then registered for a membership at the gym. He quickly stole a security key from the laborer and quickly approached Clay. When Clay put his things in his personal locker, Marcus used the key he had stolen from the laborer to open the locker. He took out Clay's apartment card, then copied an identical card for himself. After everything was done, he put the card back in its original place. That night, as soon as Clay got home, he saw the stranger's figure. He wasn't a fool, and he calmly stalled for time. As soon as he saw the paper on the table, Clay understood everything and recounted what happened that day. After hearing the news of the mission's failure, Clay was extremely confused. At that time, the lawyer Hodges suggested that he should buy insurance, in case of retaliation if it was exposed. In a moment of weakness, he fell into Hodges' trap, spending another $150,000 to erase all traces. After that, he also forgot about it. Unexpectedly, Marcus visited his house today. No matter what he explained, Marcus remained silent from beginning to end. Perhaps Marcus was too fed up with this life, so he did not kill him like the previous people, but only warned him that if Marcus came back next time, a light would be pointed at his coffee cup, or some untimely death, like a stroke, not like today. In the end, Marcus completed his revenge. He tore up those addresses and threw them away. At the end of the film, Marcus returned to his home in the Dominican Republic. His girlfriend Magdala has also recovered. Both of them now have a new life. No longer have to fear the killing scene. The movie ends here. Thank you very much for your support so that the channel can develop like today. If you find it interesting, please give me a like and a comment about this movie. Especially, please subscribe to the channel to follow my movie recap. See you again, my dear friends.